Continuing our Manitoba Junior Hockey League team-by-team preview with a voice of the MGEU West Division, Darnell Duff. Darnell, let's go with maybe the class of the West Division this year, coming off an MJHL Finals appearance. The Virden Oil Capitals, on paper, and maybe from the whispers we're hearing, are primed to take another step this year. Do you see them as being the toast of the West heading into this year?
You know what, Dave? Outstanding. This is going to be a really, really good hockey club. And I mean, I guess the when it comes to last year is actually winning an MJHL title and getting it done for Oil Country. But this is a really strong team. They have a great defensive core coming back. David Bielik, Trevor Hunt, Joey Bielik, of course, up front. I love those Bielik brothers. They lack size. They're only in that 5'8" range, but they do whatever it takes. They go hard into the corners, whatever it takes to help their team win. I love how tenacious they play. A guy I'm really looking forward to seeing this year is Bryce Bryant, though. Had 28 goals and 39 points in the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League last year. And then in talks with Tyson Ramsey, who I think has done an outstanding job in Virden, he says he's so looking forward to seeing what Bryce can do. This is an Oil Capitals team that they're well oiled, and they're going to be tough to beat, especially at Tundra Oil and Gas Place, which is not an easy venue to win at by any means.
No, absolutely not. And you think about the veterans that aged out, the graduating players last year. I think the impact that they had on last year's club is going to carry over this year. And I think if the Oil Capitals find success, it's going to be at the root of the guys who have been part of that program in last year or even years past.
Well, yeah, I mean, losing in a final, it's a heartbreak. It sucks. You work so hard to get down to the final, and you're only a few games away from winning a championship and going to the Centennial Cup. But it's going to be interesting to see what these players took out of that experience and how they can move that forward. Owen Larocque and Eric Reed were both part of that. The Bielik brothers, as mentioned, Trevor Hunt was a part of that. Josh Lado was a part of that. Nathan Miller was a part of that. So many guys on this Oil Capitals team felt that heartbreak last year, and there's nothing worse than losing in a final when you're only a couple of short, jaunts away from going to a national championship. I think it's going to prove well for this team. Yes, it sucked at the time, but I think they're going to reap the benefits of that now and take it into this year as one of the class of the West. I'm really looking forward to seeing this team. They in the past, they've been a team that sort of sits back. They don't really try and jam it down your throat. They sit back. They wait for you to make an error, and then all of a sudden, 20 seconds later, the puck is in the back of your net. I think it's incredible how they do that, how their strategy works. It'll be interesting to see if that is the case this year once again. And if it is, other teams' opponents better not make many errors against them, because all it takes is one, and it could end up in your net because they do have some really good scorers. Now, one big deletion from the roster is Nolan Chasko, a small guy in his rights as well. Had a fantastic year last year. What a sniper he has. That's a tough deletion. That's one player you certainly love back. With that being said, you add a Bryce Bryant, who you're expecting to have a great year as well. I mean, that's where Chasko came from, the U18 AAA Hockey League with Brandon, where he lit it up, and Bryce Bryant did that last year. So you'd lose one player, you add a couple of more. I don't think Virden's in any worse of a spot than they were last year, perhaps even in a better spot, because they're that much more experienced and they've been through the grind of making it to a Turnbull Cup final.
One of the areas, Darnell, that I think Tyson Ramsey last year showed that he was kind of willing to rotate goaltenders, especially through the playoffs, going with the hot hand. Do you see Virden doing that again as a recipe for success, or do they need to have a defined starter that they're going to kind of roll with throughout the season and then really just kind of ride through the playoffs? Take us through the goaltending.
Yeah, I'm always a believer that you need a number one goaltender to be a championship team. With that said, I think that justified the odds last year when Owen Larocque and Eric Reed were basically splitting it down. I mean, you look at their regular season statistics, their save percentage, their goals against average was basically identical. Their records were as well. And I mean, that's why they were co-recipients of their goaltending award last year in Virden. So it worked for them last year. They ended up getting to the MJHL final when one goalie struggled. You saw it even in the playoffs against the Terriers. When one goalie struggled, the other goalie was able to come in and was able to be rock solid and make some big-time saves. Does it work to win a championship? No, it didn't last year. Could it work this year? Perhaps. I still would like to see a number one goaltender. With that said, are Owen Larocque and Eric Reed number one goaltenders consistently? I guess that's the big question. They weren't able to show that last year. They had, flashes of being brilliant, and you weren't able to beat them. And then one game they would struggle and allow, 4 or 5 goals in, and then they would have to go for the goaltending change. So I think perhaps for Tyson Ramsey, he just has to play with what he has, his 2 goaltenders who can win hockey games, who can lead the team to the league finals. So I think this year is going to be more of the same as last year, where we're going to see Larocque, we're going to see Reed. Both those goalies are going to get an opportunity to perhaps steal the show. Maybe they go with only one. Maybe they go with both and alternate them. But they've proven that they can lift the team to a title, or a league final, I should say.
2 more for you here, Darnell. One of the things that we know about Virden is they're deep in all positions, like you just talked about. They got 2 good goaltenders. They got depth on defense, depth up front, scoring and grit, tenacity, all that. Are they going to be mentally ready for the grind of being the circle team every night? Because Dauphin, Wayway, Sikapo, Swan Valley, Nipawa, and OCN are going to be up for those games against the MJHL finalists last year. Is this team mentally prepared for that grind starting night 1 and going forward?
I'm going to say, yeah, certainly they're going to have their targets on their back, making a league final last year, and on paper heading into this year. Everybody knows how good the Oil Capitals are going to be. You talk to just a mediocre MJHL fan, and they say, you know what, the Oil Capitals are going to be the class of the West this season. But I think this team has the makeup of being a successful team. I think they understand, and I think that's only going to drive them that much more, because when you have those great expectations of you, you want to live up to those. You don't want to be the team that, we had great expectations, but we just could not get the job done at the end of the day. You don't want to be that team. I think the Oil Capitals right now are preparing to be the favorites in a lot of their matchups, and I think they're preparing to be ready for that. Tyson Ramsey runs a really tight ship there. I think one of the best things that organization could have done is sign him to an extension, with which they did. So to answer your question, I think they're going to be up for the challenge of being the favorites, and I think this is going to be a really, really tough team to beat on a night in, night out basis.
Darnell, every year we've talked about Virden looking primed to take that step, and every year they have fallen short. I know maybe getting to the finals last year was maybe overachieving where some fans thought they would be, especially when they matched up against the Centennial Cup host Portage Terriers. They were able to get out of that series. But every year it's felt like, hey, this is Virden's year. This is Virden's division to win. If they don't do it this year with this team, is it time to start thinking about changes, not personnel wise, because I think Tyson Ramsey is one of the top coaches in the province, but is it time to start thinking about a different way to build the team, or a different way to go about trying to find success if they do not achieve it with this club this year?
To answer your question, Dave, I think at the very least, you have to take a step back and sort of analyze what is going on and what's been working, but most importantly, what hasn't been working. Because at the end of the day, it's all about winning at this level. I do believe that. Yes, you want to develop these players. Yes, you want to give them an avenue to play at the next level. That's equally as important. But you're not going to talk to one player that says they're not here to win a championship, because that is the case. All coaches want to win a championship. So if they don't win this year, I think you're going to have to step back. Yes, I agree to that. No personnel changes, because I think Tyson Ramsey has done a great job. Their coaching staff is giving their players an opportunity to get the job done. It comes down to the players getting the job done at the end of the day. So if you don't win it this year, I mean, also with that said, Dave, it's not easy to win a championship. You could be the favorites every year long. Like, it seems like the Edmonton Oilers are talked about winning the title every year. They never do, and they have the literal best player on the planet on their team who just dangles guys easily. It's not easy to win a championship. Everybody has the same goals, and especially in this MJHL over the years, the parity is just continuing to get better. You're seeing Division I players, commits, come to this league because they want to grow and they want to help their team win a championship. So this is a tough league to win. Yes, it would be another disappointment if the Oil Capitals don't win. Sure, maybe you take a step back and analyze what you're doing, but it seems that Virden is doing everything right except for winning a championship. Is this year their year? Maybe. Is it not? Maybe. I don't know, but I don't think, if you don't win this year, I don't think it's panic mode. I think you just have to maybe take things to the next level. But how do you do that? At the end of the day, no championship is given. You have to earn it. Virden has earned the right to play in the league final. They played against the Pistons a few years back, and they also played against the Pistons, as you know, last year. So there's so close. This is a good team, though. This is certainly a championship contender to open the season on Friday night, and we'll see how things dwindle down the road. Looking forward to seeing it, though.